Here's a question for you. Who do you think is ahead in the evolution of the digital procurement skill set? Europe or North America? That's a question that I've been discussing with a number of procurement leaders recently, and I've got an interesting take for you. So first of all, what's the digital procurement skill set? Well, I would define that as the skills required to embrace what technology can now offer procurement supply chain professionals to enhance the value they deliver to their organisation. So the tools required, the skills required to use all different solutions that are out there. And so an American procurement leader said to me recently, well, you guys are much further ahead than we are in Europe. And I was quite surprised at that because I was looking at the States thinking they're more mature than we are. I'd had some conversations with some of the elite and early adopters about what they were doing. And I felt they were further down the track than the Europeans. But actually, when we discussed it in detail, and I spoke to a few consultancy people and some software vendors, I've come to the conclusion that actually the picture's quite similar on both sides of the Atlantic. You've got the elite procurement functions that have historically been at the forefront of developing procurement best practice, and these are the companies that are really starting to use technology very, very effectively to enhance the value they deliver for their organisations. You've got others that are early adopters that are following in their footsteps and seeing that now there is a great opportunity, and this is where a lot of the conversation is, people trying to find out what's been done, what they should replicate, what mistakes have been made that they should avoid. And then you've got a much larger chunk of the profession which is still very, very focused on traditional procurement priorities like cost saving, managing risk, security of supply, that quite frankly just haven't had the time to look at what technology can do and therefore what skills might be required to get the best from that tech. So actually the picture is quite similar on both sides of the Atlantic. And that's really interesting because when you speak to the consultants and the vendors, they've got some very strong opinions on this about really procurement needs to accelerate the development of the training and recruiting and capability around these skills in order to embrace this opportunity that technology presents. But I was absolutely amazed when a contact of mine at one of the American vendors said to me last week, we've got a customer, very high profile organisation, the sort of company you'd think would have a great procurement team. He said, yeah, they're just going to start putting in category management in the second half of this year. I'm like, category management? They've not got category management yet. I was recruiting category managers in 2001. And so I was amazed by that. But of course, you know, different organisations are at different levels of maturity in terms of their development of the procurement capabilities and of course what technologies can deliver. So I think we're seeing now more and more discussion around this, and it's noticeable that we're seeing more and more procurement excellence roles getting advertised in both Europe and the States. I think in a lot of cases these are sort of mid-level roles, not really senior big hitting roles. They're focused on the intersection of people, process and technology, and I think that's a good trend. But I think it's frustrating that there aren't more really senior roles reporting to, say, a CPO, where you've got like a digital scout or a transformation leader. When I say digital scout, the person who's out there looking for tech that can solve specific business problems, which they're using the sort of digital garage model that they've got at places like BT and BP in the UK, or a transformation leader, or somebody who's a real expert in the range of solutions that's out there, understands the challenges of adoption, and the sort of skills that need to be developed within the team in order to get the true value from them and ultimately get that return on investment and, you know, build a strong business case for future investment in tech. So if this is something that's on your agenda as a procurement leader, then as you might tell, we've been doing an awful lot of research on it. We've got a lot of thoughts on what the skills will look like, and we're learning from lots of other people who've been down this road already before. So if you want to get some insights from us, we'd be happy to have that conversation. I've presented at a few sort of innovation days on behalf of CPOs recently on this subject and future workforce planning as well. And of course, because we're so immersed in this world, we've got the entire talent pool of people who've really got the experience of doing this already. We've got all that mapped. So if you were to be hiring, of course, we'd be very well positioned to help you out there. So I hope you found that useful. Love to hear from you. You can get me via everydayly.com or, of course, on LinkedIn. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed it.